ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णा पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा। So, as you know, tomorrow is the advent of Bhagavad Gita, or the Gita Jayanti, appearance day of Bhagavad Gita, the day that Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Bhagavad Gita, as you know, it's the summum bonum of all Vedic scriptures. It's the conclusion. It's the essence of all Vedic scriptures. And in this Kali Yuga, when our intelligence is very small, our memories is very poor, we are recommended to, if you had to read only one scripture, as you just read in the Gita Mahatmya, if you had to read only one scripture, it is Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita has all the concepts, all the understanding you need to live in this world, to conduct yourself, to know what is the purpose of life, what is the goal of this human life, for everything, all the answers. Recording in progress. So all the answers to all the questions, they are there in Bhagavad Gita. We just need to read it under proper guidance. You just need to understand it under proper guidance, and you will get all the answers that you're looking for. All the principles are mentioned by Krishna in this beautiful book. It's a wonderful book. So there are so many aspects, many ways in which Bhagavad Gita can be discussed. I thought of just taking this one aspect today. And we have a program coming up on December 25th, on Christmas Day, actually, at Vidushi Mataji's house. And that day, I will be covering the complete overview of Bhagavad Gita. So please try to attend that session for sure. I wanted to do that today, but Nagarchand Prabhu didn't think we would have many people, so he said to just do something else. But that day, I would be covering complete overview of Bhagavad Gita. Today, I'm just taking one aspect. This is long enough as well, and we may not be able to finish it today. I'll try. So this is practice of Krishna consciousness through Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So what is the application, or what is the connection to our lives? Like how, what kind of actions we can perform based on this Bhagavad Gita? How do we connect? Or various yogas mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. That is what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about various yogas, or connection to the supreme, connection to the divinity given in Bhagavad Gita. So this is the practice of Krishna consciousness. You will see the process, the whole process of Krishna consciousness is given in Bhagavad Gita. So just a basic introduction. I'm hoping everybody here has gone through Bhagavad Gita once, but even if you have not, really for this class, you don't need any previous understanding. If you come with a completely blank slate, that is actually perfect. And I'm going to try to present it in a way that will, appeal to your modern understanding. So Bhagavad Gita, often we think it is a religious book. It is meant for a certain caste, certain type of people that are renunciates, or older people that are ready to retire, that have, already lived their life and are now ready for their next journey, next destination. So maybe they should read this book. But actually, we understand that Bhagavad Gita is not really a religious book. Bhagavad Gita is more like a science book. It's more like a scientific book. It is a book of spiritual science. It is a book uh, that tells you about your identity, okay, who you are, think of any science book. In any science book, we study, like let's say we are studying a metal, or a machine. So they tell us what that machine is made of, right? What is the purpose of that machine? How is it assembled? What is it used for? What are the benefits of this? What are the side effects of this? So like that, a science book talks about those things. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita also talks about your composition. You as a jiva, what are you made of? What is your identity? What is this world made of? Why are you here? What is your purpose here? What is your goal here? What are you supposed to accomplish being here? What are different people like? Why are different people so different? Why is their faith, their knowledge, their understanding, why is everything so different for different people? What controls different people here? Where are we coming from? Where do we have to go? How do we have to live here? How do we have to deal with various situations, circumstances in this life? Who is the supreme lord or the supreme authority that has created this world? What is his role? What is our connection with him? How can we connect with him? And many processes by which we can connect with him. So that is what Bhagavad Gita tells us. So it's a very scientific book. It gives you all the rules, the principles of living here, okay, in this body and in this world. So it is often said that science studies matter, but Bhagavad Gita studies what matters. How does it study what matters? Because it studies the essence of that matter. Matter does not matter. Matter is jad. Matter is non-living. And Bhagavad Gita is actually studying the living being. It is studying the actual spirit, soul, the actual spiritual essence in this world. This world is not run by matter. This world is run by the spirit souls, by the super soul. So who is that super soul? Who is that spirit soul? The spirituality is the essence of this world that makes this world run. So that's what Bhagavad Gita studies. That's why Bhagavad Gita studies what matters. What is it that makes you run? You are the super soul. What qualities you have? What qualities you should have? So all that is what Bhagavad Gita studies. And this is a quote from Albert Einstein, a great scientist. And he says that I have made Bhagavad Gita as the source of my inspiration and guide for the purpose of scientific investigations and formation of my theories. So he used Bhagavad Gita as the basis of his scientific investigations and formulating his theories. So that's the quality of Bhagavad Gita. That's the quality of book that we are reading. So it's not meant for a certain class of people, certain gender, certain age, or certain country. It's not just householders have to read, or it's not just renunciates have to read. It's not just older people. It's meant for everyone: householders, youngsters, youth. Everyone needs to be trained in Bhagavad Gita actually, because this is what matters. So everyone should be trained in this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And it has all the principles. It has principles. If you want to study, like our teachers have taken principles of leadership, business, dealings with family, dealings in professional life, how to speak, what to eat, how to conduct yourself, various type of people that exist in this world, how to control your mind, how to control your body, your speech, how to overcome stress, how to overcome anxiety. All these things are given in Bhagavad Gita. So, just like, as you know, this Bhagavad Gita was spoken on battlefield, it is said that this life, this world is actually a battlefield. So we should study this Bhagavad Gita before we step out into this world, before we get ready to deal with this, before we get ready to fight in this world, in this battlefield. We should put our armor of Bhagavad Gita before we are ready to engage in this world. So, just like a warrior, puts his armor before the battle, sharpens his sword before the battle. So, similarly, before we are ready to engage in this world, we should read Bhagavad Gita. We are already too late. We are already very late in understanding these very valuable principles. So, Bhagavad Gita is before our entrance into this world. Whereas people just think that it is a religious book and it is meant for exiting from this world. It's not just meant from exiting. Yes, it will tell you about exiting also, but more importantly, it will tell you about your participation in this world, your engagement in this world, how you should work in this world, conduct in this world, and deal with different people in different situations in this world. So that's why it's important to learn it at a young age, actually, before you start engaging with this world. And I have some books on the screen. Um, I think I've read most of these. Um, all these are the motivational books. So, nowadays people are very much into motivational books, inspirational books. There are so many influencers on YouTube, there are podcasts and uh, all these blogs and so many articles, so many things that are just to motivate you, just to inspire you, right? They are all meant for self development, development of various aspects of your personality. And just like people think that science is different from Bhagavad Gita, they don't understand Bhagavad Gita is a scientific book. Similarly, people don't understand that Bhagavad Gita is also a book of self development and motivation. So people think that scriptures cannot add anything tangible in their life. They cannot give them anything practical in their life. It's all just philosophies and theories and concepts that are not really applicable in modern world. So they discard scriptures and they've completely divorced themselves. They want to develop themselves. They want to stay inspired and live up to their best potential in this life, but they're getting all this knowledge separate from scriptures, outside of scriptures. But if you read some of these books, I know that the last one that I read, Robin Sharma's The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, it is taken completely from Bhagavad Gita. All the principles mentioned in that book are from Bhagavad Gita. So all these principles are actually already given in scriptures. They're being just, uh, sold in a more modern way by taking God consciousness out of the books. They're being, sold in a purely motivational or self-development way, just catering to the bodily identification completely. So, but we don't have to divorce scriptures from self development and motivation, because actually, by keeping God consciousness in center, the self development, the motivation, the inspiration, the influence can be better actually. So, if we get all these principles through Bhagavad Gita, we can actually apply them better in our life than we can through these motivational books. And that this is what I realized during my last few years of reading these books and as well as reading Bhagavad Gita, that I could apply these principles. If I'm trying to please the Supreme Lord, I'm able to acquire those qualities and conduct myself according to those principles better than if I was to just do those things without him. So by taking him out of the picture, it becomes hard to develop those qualities and that kind of character, that kind of strong principles that these books recommend. Um, so this is the basic theme of Bhagavad Gita. That Bhagavad Gita takes you from um, doubt and insecurity to clarity and purpose. You will see that Bhagavad Gita starts with Arjuna's doubts. He was insecure. He was very confused. He was overcome with grief and compassion for his bodily relatives. So he was feeling very doubtful. He thought this was not a good idea to engage in this war. This was a bad proposal. We should probably back out from this war. So he was ready to back out from this war because he was completely under the influence of his false ego. He was just letting his mind and senses run the whole show for him. And so he was in this crisis. And this is what happens with us. We are in existential crisis. A lot of times we are overcome by doubt and confusion because we let our mind, our false ego, our senses get the best of us. So we cannot see the situation properly. Our vision gets very foggy, very clouded, and we get blinded by the demands of the senses, mind, emotions, unnecessary sentiments, unnecessary desires, overthinking, over imagination. All these things sometimes just completely create a lot of chaos, confusion in our consciousness. So Arjun was at that point, and he was feeling depressed, grief stricken. He had laid down his bow and he looked towards Krishna for right guidance. And when the right guidance came, then Krishna gave him clarity, he gave him purpose, he cleared his vision, he took away the influence of mind, false ego, and senses, and showed him what his real purpose is, who he is really. that he's not just fighting, he's not just a body, he's not just this person in this body fighting with his relatives. He's actually on a very big mission here. And this body is just for a specific purpose, to fulfill this goal of having righteous king rule the kingdom. So that's the goal of this of his life right now, and he should fulfill that goal. And he had this existential awakening where he realized that I was ready to give up my whole purpose of my life, whole calling of my life, because of being clouded by my false ego. So then he engaged in the war with proper consciousness and seva bhav, service attitude. So this is the journey from complete breakdown to breakthrough, spiritual breakthrough. So let's take this journey into this beautiful book. I'm going to talk about one of the aspects that I mentioned before. There are 5 main topics of Bhagavad Gita. Is everyone familiar with these 5 topics? Whoever is able to engage with me, please. I don't want to be the only one talking. I'm very sure that everybody has read Bhagavad Gita and understands. So I want to hear from everyone. What are the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prakriti, Bhagwan, the time factor, and then Prakriti, then the person, the Jiva. So Prakriti, Jiva, Bhagwan, time factor, or karma.
Yes. So yeah, you mentioned rightly. So there is Jiva, which is us. There is Bhagwan, right? The person that we're trying to reach. The connection between the two through various activities, karma or karma yoga. The world in which we live, which is Prakriti, the world or Prakriti, and the Kal factor, time, which binds us here. So there are 5 main topics of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Krishna covers all these 5 topics, and on, like I said, on December 25th, we'll cover all these 5 topics, and we will go through them quickly. But today I've just taken one topic, which is yoga. So yoga means our connection with the Supreme. Okay, yoga is how we connect to the Supreme Consciousness, the spirit soul, the minute consciousness, the spirit's soul, the spiritual spark connects to the Supreme Consciousness, the divinity, the absolute truth, Krishna, through a process, and that process is called yoga. And there are many yogic processes given by Krishna. So in the entire Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us various types of ways to connect with him, connection with Supreme. And he keeps calling us back. He says, if you do this, you can come back to me. If you do that, you will come back to me. So he gives us various processes. And according to where you are in your journey, in your understanding, you can take that process and eventually get back to me. So broadly, broadly in Bhagavad Gita, 3 yogic processes are given. Okay, so yoga can be many types, but the 3 ways to connect to Supreme are given. 3 yogic processes: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So, as you know, Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters and total 700 verses. It is divided into, those 18 chapters are divided into 3 sets. The first 6 chapters deal with Karma Yoga, middle 6 chapters deal with Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 chapters deal with Jnana Yoga. So Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. These are the 3 sets into which Bhagavad Gita is divided. So it's often compared to a jewel box. So the first 6 chapters are considered the top lid of the box. The bottom lid is compared to the last 6 chapters. And in the middle of this box is a ring, is a diamond ring, which is actually the middle 6 chapters, the essence of Bhagavad Gita, or Bhakti Yoga. So the middle 6 chapters are said to be preserved between the first and the last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So the whole Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedas. And in that Bhagavad Gita, the middle 6 chapters are the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And in those middle 6 chapters, chapter 9 and 10 are considered to be the further essence of those 6 chapters. I hope everybody's following that. So this is the way Bhagavad Gita is divided. Those are the three main yogas discussed. I will discuss mostly Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with both of these, but let's read it through Bhagavad Gita and see which verses are there, how Krishna recommends these processes, and what is the quality of these processes. So the first is karma or action. So Krishna says to Arjun that you are not this body, you are the soul. Okay, this is your identity. You are the spirit soul. You have been given this body for a particular task, for a purpose, to perform action. With this body, you perform your actions, and you perform actions in this world. So you are performing various actions, duties, work, prescribed duties in this world. So how should you work in this world is called karma. Okay, what actions to perform in this world, and what should be the mood of those actions, what should be the mood behind those actions, that's what Krishna is about to teach us. So Krishna says that when you perform your actions for my pleasure, become my instrument, do those for my service. Okay, don't do those for your own enjoyment, do those for my enjoyment, my pleasure, my happiness, to fulfill my desire. Become my instrument, as if remembering that I am the main enjoyer of all the outcomes. Give me all your results and work for me, like a servant works for a master, like a pen works for a writer, like a guitar works for a musician. So like that, you become the instrument, like a knife works for the chef. Like that, you become my instrument, only instrument. Just nimitt matra, just my instrument, nothing else, nothing more. So for that, so I'm going to take in sequence many verses. So please, whoever is available, please unmute and let's chant some of these verses. If you want, I can pull them on the screen also. Is somebody available to chant the verses, or would you skip the Sanskrit and just keep going?
I can do it.
I can chant.
Okay. So I think most of you know this, and if not, then you need to remember this one. So let's, do you want me to put it up on the screen, or can you chant behind me?
So it's lead and follow?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Karmanyevadhikaraste
Karmanivadhikaraste
ma phaleshu kadachana
ma phaleshu kadachana
ma karm phal heturbhu
ma karma phal heturbhu
ma te sangostva karmani.
ma te sangostva karmani.
Okay. Navi, can you read this translation quickly?
Okay. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjun, abandoning
This one. 2.4.
Which
Top
one?
Top one.
Oh, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
And then the next one also. So next one is Yogastha Kuru Karmani.
Yogastha kuru karmani
Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya. Sangam
sangam
Tyaktva
tyaktva
Dhananjaya.
dhananjaya
Siddhi asiddhayo samo bhutva. Siddhi
siddhi
asiddhayo
asiddhyo
samo
samo bhutva
bhutva. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Samatvam
samatvam
yoga
yoga
uchyate.
uchyate.
So Krishna says that perform your duty equipoised, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So if you're so not every action is yoga. Karma is karma. Karma is not karma yoga. When you perform an action for your own, to fulfill your own desires, for your own benefits, to enjoy those results, to enjoy the benefits, the outcome, then that's karma. Okay. that type of karma will bind you. That type of karma will cause you entanglement, bondage. Okay. So don't engage in that type of karma. Engage in karma yoga, meaning where you are not attached to the results or the fruits of your action. So don't become so outcome oriented, become process oriented. Enjoy the process. Do it for the sake of doing. Okay. Because you are not in control of your outcome. The outcome is decided by many, many factors, which is beyond your control. There are so many things that go in deciding the outcome of an action. Your karmic reactions may not be favorable. Supreme Lord may not allow many factors that may not allow a good result. So good result or good outcome, positive outcome may not be in your control. In your control is only the process, the action. And Krishna says actually even that action is not completely in your control. Only if I allow, you will be able to perform that action properly. So you are not really a controller. You are a very small spirit spark. Huh? You are my servant. You are part and parcel of the original supreme consciousness, the original absolute truth, which is me. So I am the original everything doer. I am the controller. I am the proprietor. I am the enjoyer. So you can do very minimum. So only thing you can control is your desire. So align your desires with me, perform that action to the best of your ability with focus, with intention, with deliberation, with joy, with the proper intention. And then whatever result may happen, it's not up to you. Just your success is in just performing that action properly. Okay, that's where your success lies. And these are some quotes I took. There is no work better than to please God. So whatever work you do, whatever is your prescribed duty in this world, do that duty with proper intention, with proper focus, attention, deliberation. Enjoy that work. Whether it is to pour water, to wash dishes, to be a cobbler, to be an apostle, all are one, to wash this, everything. Eh, the goal is to please the God. And this is from Swami Ramdas, very famous personality. Place yourself as an instrument in the hands of God, who does his own work in his own way. Because when you align your desires with the Supreme Lord, then you are actually going to be able to perform to the best of your ability. So align your desires with the Supreme Lord, it will please him. So, and then this is the definition of success. You know, in the world, we often think that the success is when we have the best outcome. Nobody looks at the process. People are becoming very, very result oriented. But actually, these days, the focus is going away from result to the process again. People are coming back to the original scriptural knowledge that is given in Bhagavad Gita, that we should not be very result oriented or outcome oriented. We should be actually process oriented. If you do the process properly, the result will, you will see that if you are doing it properly with intention, with joy, the result will also often come around to the best possible. And leave it up to the Supreme Lord. Jo Haricha, Jo, whatever he desires, you will get that result. So again, it says success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it, because successful people are actually just busy. They're engaged in their activities very properly. They are so disciplined. They're properly doing their activities. They are not really looking for success. Success comes to them because they're doing the job so properly. So be task oriented. Do your task that has been given to you properly. So we should have a goal in mind, but we should not be very attached to that goal or that positive outcome. Our attention should be the details of that task, to enjoy the process and focus on it. You're not in control of the outcome. So um, it is said that happiness is actually in giving your best endeavor, not in the result. Then Krishna says in chapter 5, so he talks about this Karma Yoga in chapter 3. He says this work should also be done. So, okay, you are not in the control of outcome. You are not in control of the action completely. You can control your desires. So your desire should be to live a life of sacrifice. You You should perform your action with gratitude. Whatever you do, do with sacrifice. Remember that you should live your life of service. You should live a life of service, gratefulness, gratitude. Live a life of um, uh, live a, like conduct that action with responsibility, but have you know proper attitude of gratitude. So do everything for the pleasure of people and for the pleasure of Supreme Lord. And that is the right attitude in which you should work. So then he says, okay, so these are the verses. Let's recite. He says, please recite after me. Yagyarthat karmano anyatra.
यज्ञार्थात्
Yagyarthat
अन्यतो कर्म अत्र
Loko ayam karma bandhana. Loko ayam
लोकोऽयं
bandhana.
कर्मबन्धना
Tadartham karma kaunteya. Tadartham
Tadartham
तदार्थं
karma
कर्म
kaunteya.
कौन्तेय
kaunteya.
Mukta sangha samachara. Mukta sangha samachara.
मुक्तसङ्गसमाचर.
So he says, Yagyarthat karmano. Do work as a sacrifice. Always do work for my pleasure, for my enjoyment, as a sacrifice, as a gratitude to me, to show your love and gratitude towards me. If you don't do work with that intention, then work will cause bondage. Otherwise, the work will cause bondage. So always do work with service, with love and gratitude for the Lord. Okay. That should be your intention, that should be your motivation behind the work, that I want to please the Supreme Lord. And then he says, Mai sarvani karmani, Mai
मयि
sarvani
सर्वाणि
karmani,
कर्माणि
Sannyasi adhyatma chetasha, Sannyasi
सन्न्यासी
adhyatma chetasa,
आत्मचेतसा
Nirashir nirmamo bhutva, Nirashir nirmamo
निर्वसेर्नैर्ममो
bhutva,
भूत्वा
Yudhyasva vigajwara, Yudhyasva
युध्यस्व
vigajwara.
विगतज्वरा.
So he says, do that work very actively. It's not like that if you're not enjoying the outcome, if you're not enjoying the result of that work, then you should become very lethargic or do it half-heartedly. No, you should do it with full focus and full active, with full passion. Actually, it should be done with proper passion, but with detachment to the result. So he says, do it nir asir nirmamo. This is not mine. Nirmamo bhutva. Yudhyasva vigajwara. Fight with free from lethargy, with great activity in your body, with passion, fight, like with proper zeal and joy. Do that work. So do that work as a love and sacrifice, as your sacrifice to me, as your gratitude to me, with detachment to the outcome. Be process oriented, and do it very actively, do it very pleasurefully, do it very joyfully. Okay, don't become inactive or lethargic when doing that work. So it's like um, there are many examples given in this regard. Like for example, the of a bank teller. A bank teller is counting money in the bank. He has no stake in that money. He's just counting the money. He cannot keep that money, but he's going to work properly. He's going to work with the intention of pleasing his employer, right? He's not going to keep any money for himself. If he keeps any money for himself, then that means he's trying to enjoy the results, which was not his position to enjoy. His position is not to enjoy. His position is that of a servant. He was just supposed to count that money. But the day he starts keeping that money, he will become entangled, he will become implicated. He will now have to bear the negative results of keeping that money, because that money was never meant for him, that was meant for somebody else. So you are in charge of doing these actions on behalf of Supreme Lord. You're fulfilling his desires through your actions. So you have to do that action properly, joyfully, and whether it is positive or negative is up to him. It is up to him, because it was his desire you're fulfilling. So whether he wants it to be fulfilled or not, it's up to him. You just do your action properly, and that's your success. So success is not in the outcome, success is in the process. And your position is that of a servant to just perform that work properly, not try to enjoy the result. So while doing a work, also remember your position is that of a servant. Because Krishna says in chapter 5 that I am the bhoktaram, I am the enjoyer of that. Everything that you do in this world is enjoyed by me. You are not the enjoyer, I am the enjoyer. So we are in this world to perform service for the Supreme Lord. And these days, this concept is very prevalent actually. Like even in leadership, servant leadership is prevalent, that you should be a servant, even though you are the boss, you are the authority. Even though you may be a politician, a very big president or a king, you should have that servant mentality, not enjoyer mentality. Not that you are sitting on the throne or sitting on the chair as an enjoyer to enjoy that position, but as a servant to serve that position. So like Bharat Maharaj sitting on the throne on behalf of Lord Ram, not to enjoy Ayodhya, but to serve Ayodhya on behalf of Lord Ram. Like that, you are also performing actions through this body as a service to the Supreme Lord. So do that action properly because it will please him. It is to fulfill his desire. He will enjoy the outcome, but you do it properly because you are his servant. So in this mentality, when work is done, then that work is called karma yoga. So remember your position, remember to stay detached from outcome, remember to stay attached to the process, uh, perform that work with deliberation, without any lethargy, with focus and intention. Do the will of the Lord. Try to align your wishes with his wishes, his desires, become his instrument, since he knows the best. And this type of work will then not entangle you. It will not cause any bondage. Rather, it will liberate you. Okay. This verse comes in chapter 5, and this is a quote that I put here. Success does not lie in results, but in efforts. Being the best is not so important. Doing the best is what matters. So in this world, often we just look at the result and we say, okay, this person is best because they give the best results. But actually, being the best, doing things properly, being the best is not important. Doing the things in the best way is important. Your actions are very important. So focus on your labor, not the results of your labor. Focus on the task at hand. So here Krishna says, yogis abandoning the attachment act with body, mind, intelligence, and with the senses only for the purpose of purification. So when we do any action, we are doing it for the pleasure of Lord, which purifies us. So that purifies us. It's for the purpose of purification. So they engage their whole body, mind, intelligence, and senses in a work without attachment for the purpose of purification. So whenever you do something, remember that you're doing it for pleasure of Lord. It will purify you. Otherwise, it will entangle you. That's called Karma Yoga. I'll pause here. This was Karma Yoga, as you know, is one of the limbs out of those five topics of one of the topics out of those five topics of Bhagavad Gita. Very important. And there are numerous verses. Can anyone quote a verse from chapter 9 where Krishna says about Karma Yoga? Very famous verse. That do everything for me, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you sacrifice, whatever you donate, whatever charity you do it for me. Which verse am I looking
Yagya
for?
Shashna Santo?
Chapter 9.
Oh, okay.
Navya will tell. I'm just going to stop the screen share. Okay, while you're thinking of that verse, let me ask Hiral Mataji, Sheetal Mataji, Rekha Mataji, are you all following? Is it all making sense? Any questions or corrections or realizations?
Yad Karoshi Yadashnasi.
Yes.
Where you want to complete it?
Yad Karoshi Yadashnasi Yad Karoshi Yadashnasi Yad Yad Tapasyasi Kaunteya Tad Kurushvan Madarpanam.
Very nice. So whatever you do, yat karoshi, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, everything should be done. This body is given. So actually, to set this material world, we say that this material world is meant to purify us. It's meant for our purification. But also it is said this material world is a playground for Krishna. It's his playground. It's meant for his pleasure. It's made for his pleasure. So whatever we do with this body, since this body is given by him, all the resources are given by him, they should all be used in his service because he has lent those things to us for a small time, and we are just using them on his behalf. So we should not think that we are the proprietor and controller and enjoyer or owner of these things. We are not. He's the proprietor, controller, maintainer, and enjoyer of this body and of this world and of various resources in it, various facilities in it. Okay, I want someone to share something so that I know you're engaged before I go on to the next aspect.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
No, you're going good. I haven't fully read the Bhagavad Gita, so I'm not able to recite anything like off the top of my head. But this is really good, and I'm looking forward to the program on 25th to get more insight.
Yes, Mataji. 25th will cover the whole Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Anyone else? Rekha Mataji, Sheetal Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, I like the point you said. Instead of being the result oriented, enjoy the process. I really love that because normally we always look for the result, but we do not enjoy the process. So instead, we should enjoy the process. That will keep us focused, and also I think that will keep us humble. So thank you, Mataji, for explaining that very clearly.
Yeah. Same thing for anything, whether your profession, whether your studies, everything. If you take pleasure in it, if you actually enjoy doing what you're doing, then it becomes a not only very easy to follow that process, but often success will also come. And the best success is that you enjoyed it. Best success is that you enjoy doing it. So that's why even in our children, we should inculcate that you should enjoy studying. And so actually in Bhagavad Gita, couple of places, many places, but there are two verses that are very similar, where Krishna says, work according to your svabhav. Because everybody has a particular tendency, a particular inclination for certain things that they like to do in this life, with this body. So they have certain things that they like to do. If you work according to your svabhav, you tend to make better contribution. He says that you will make better contribution if you work according to your svabhav. Don't try to take up other people's work, which may go against your nature, against your svabhav. If it is against your nature, let's say I like to read and write and do those kind of things. If now I'm told to do manual work in a factory, that will not go well with me. I will not be able to perform well because that's not my tendency, my nature. I will get tired. I'll be missing work. I'll get sick more. I'll not be able to make a positive contribution to the society. So in order to give your best potential, you should work according to your nature, he says. So that's also another aspect of this karma yoga that Krishna gave. So you see, and actually in all these motivational books, we are now coming back to these same concepts of being process oriented and not result oriented, of being servant mentality, not enjoyer mentality, of focusing and working with deliberation, with mindfulness, with intention, rather than just getting the thing done, getting the job done. No, don't just get the job done, do it joyfully and with wholeheartedly. Enjoy it. So like that, and then work according to your topmost potential, according to your nature. Discover. That's why in childhood, people are now getting their children to explore many aspects of their personality. Do you like to do be a photographer, or you like to do something with your hands, or something more manual, or something more intellectual, or do you have some musical skills, do you have some artistic skills, creative skills, or do you like to be more mathematical, or do you want to go into accounting, or are you very techno savvy? Like that, people are getting their children exposed to different aspects of the world, so that children can explore their swabhav, explore their tendency, their inclination for different things, so that they can make best contribution to that particular field, that they can explore various aspects of their personality, which fits, which suits, or best for them. And this all comes from Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna already said that. He's the Supreme Lord, so he knew what is best for us. He already told us those things. That work according to your svabhav. Don't take anybody else's work. He said that. Then coming to the next topic. So the second important yoga that Krishna has mentioned is Dhyan Yoga. Okay. So first 5 chapters, especially chapter 3rd, 4th, and 5th, deals with Karma Yoga. Then chapter 6 deals with Dhyan Yoga. So Dhyan Yoga is a limb of Ashtang Yoga. Ashtang means 8 limbs. Okay, Ashtang. So 8 limbs. So these are the 8 limbs: Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. Okay, these are the 8 limbs of Ashtang Yoga. This is also called Hatha Yoga. Now, in this, there are various yogic postures that are used in this. There are very like many breathing exercises that are practiced. People sit in meditation on the Paramatma or meditation on nothing, like that, meditation on blankness, just completely empty your mind. Those kind of things people do in Ashtanga Yoga. And this this type of Ashtanga Yoga has actually become a little bit, not a little bit, quite a bit degraded over time. So you see on the slide, it says, has yoga lost its soul? What we are doing with Ashtanga Yoga is, yoga means to connect with the divinity, to connect with our supreme consciousness, to connect with our origin, where we came from, with the supreme absolute truth. So the spirit soul is trying to connect back to its origin through yoga. So yoga is the connection with the supreme. Ashtanga Yoga is also a way to develop connection with the supreme, whether by controlling your body, controlling your breathing, or controlling your mind. But these things are now just being used for the bodily health, just for the health of the matter. Remember, bodies matter. So it is not really doing anything for the soul. It's not really doing anything for the spirit soul. It may give you some peace of mind. It may calm your mind a little bit. Uh, but it's not really connecting you to the supreme. So yoga has become more about toning the body, flexibility of the body, joint flexibility, health of the joints and health of the body, and um, all these things. It's what it is used for avoiding material bodily disease. And by after engaging in this type of yogic practices, these people then go and enjoy in the world, and then they eat all kinds of things and drink as much as they want. So basically, people are using yoga to increase the enjoyer tendency of the body. They want to increase their life or increase the capacity of body to enjoy, because otherwise our body has very limited capacity to enjoy. It gets diseased and degraded very easily if we don't take care of it. So this has just become a means to take care of the body so that we can enjoy with that body the things of this world more. That's what it has come to be about now. But that's not what yoga is about. It is more about awakening your spirituality, understanding that I'm the spirit soul. I'm not part of this world. I'm part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And to experience divinity on the inside, to focus more internally than externally, connecting to Supreme and balancing our mind, um, our subtle body, so that we can uh, focus during our spiritual practices on the Lord, and cleansing of our material desires and serving the world. That's the purpose of yoga, to become detached from the material world, to become more sober, internally oriented, not externally oriented, and control our subtle body and gross body. So that's what it is supposed to be about. So in 6th chapter, Krishna has focused out of the Ashtanga Yoga mostly on the mind control, because he speaks some about how, in order to practice this type of Ashtanga Yoga, you would have to go in a secluded place. You would have to give up, your family, may have to become a celibate, and give up all these opulences and things you have around you, and dress in a deer skin, sit on a soft cloth or kusha grass, control your breathing, focus control your mind and focus it between your eyebrows, like that. Sit straight, erect with your spine straight. Don't get agitated, control your senses. So a lot of discipline is needed. So Krishna gives all these instructions in 6th chapter, that if you want to practice Ashtanga Yoga, you need to be very disciplined, and you have to give up a lot of things. So, and most important of all of those things is to control the mind. So when Arjun hears all this, he says, Krishna, this does not seem very practical. This does not seem very doable. This seems very, very impractical. I do not think I can practice this, because he says, this type of mind control and bodily everything that you're talking about is very difficult to achieve, especially mind control. So he says, uh, Arjun says that my mind is very chanchal. I do not think I can control it. You're talking about mind control, dhyan yoga. I don't think I can control my mind. I can control my arrows. I can shoot in any direction. I can control the wind with my arrows, but I cannot control my mind. So he says, please recite with me. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Chanchalam hi mana
Krishna.
Pramati balvadridam. Pramati
Pramati balvadridam.
Vajradam.
tasyaham nigraham manye.
Tasyaham nigraham manye.
Vayoriva sudushkaram.
Vayureva sudushkaram.
So he says, my mind is very chanchal. It is very obstinate and it is very strong. Pramati, Balvad, and Dridam. It's very obstinate, it's very stubborn, it's very strong. I do not think I can control it. Tasyaham nigraham manya. It's not under my control. Vayoriva sudushkaram. It's very difficult to control, like wind. Wind I can control, but I cannot control my mind. So, and you are telling me to control this mind. So Krishna says, yes, I agree. I agree. Mind is very difficult to control, Krishna says. But with practice, with daily practice and with detachment, you can control this mind. Detachment meaning detach yourself from your body, from this world. Try to focus internally. Don't engage with all these sensual attractions and things of this world so much. Try to detach yourself and practice daily. Then you can control this mind. Okay, so he says, asamshayam mahabaho manodur. Go ahead.
Asanchayam mahabaho.
Mano durnigraham chalam. Mano
Mano durnigraham chalam.
abhyasena tu kaunteya.
Abhyasena tu kaunteya.
Vairagyena cha griyate.
Vairagena cha griyate.
So Sri Bhagwan says that asamshaya Mahabahu, no doubt, oh strong. Mahabahu is another name for Arjun, that very strong person, some very strong warrior. You're right, that it's very difficult to control, but with abhyas, meaning practice, and with vairagya, meaning detachment, on a daily basis, if you do that, you can control your mind. And you need to control your mind for everything in this world. In this world, even if you are not trying to connect to Supreme, if you're not engaged in yoga process, let's say you're just living in this world, even then mind control is very important, because your mind tends to be the cause of all problems. It makes you overthink, it makes you over emotional, it creates all these unnecessary desires in your heart. It makes mountains out of molehills. It's very it amplifies the problem even though there may not be any problem. So mind definitely needs to be controlled for everyone, whether you are a yogi or no yogi. Mind needs to be controlled. That's why Krishna spends this whole chapter 6 on mind control. Okay, Krishna says you either control your mind or it will control you. Bandhuratmatmanastasya. Make it your friend, otherwise it will become your uncontrolled mind is your enemy and a controlled mind is your friend. So try to make it your friend, otherwise it is your greatest enemy. Uncontrolled mind is your greatest enemy. It will not allow you to live peacefully in this world. So even for regular people who are not yogis, even they need to control their mind. What to speak of people who are yogis need to have a very strong mind control, otherwise this world will keep distracting them from their yogic practices. So in this way he gives the process of karma yoga, that you are situated. I'm going to wrap up in a few minutes. I think we'll have to continue tomorrow, because bhakti yoga is most important. That's all we will do tomorrow. But today I'll wrap up in 5 minutes. So Krishna says that you can connect to me through your actions, which is karma yoga, but there is a certain way to do those actions. It's not like any action will be karma yoga. There are certain requirements that make an action karma yoga. A karma becomes karma yoga by fulfilling certain criteria, certain requirements are there. So you can connect through those actions to me. Secondly, you can connect through your body, through your breathing, through your mind to me. And he mostly focuses on the mind, that you can sit in meditation on me, which is actually a path used by Gyanis and Dhyanis who sit in meditation on the Paramatma. So they sit in meditation on the Paramatma, and that's how they can achieve liberation or connection with Supreme also. But Arjun sort of discarded that second process of Dhyan Yoga. He said this, it seems very hard. And our teachers also say, yes, we need mind control, but just mind control without anything else will be very hard for us to perform, to achieve. So, and Krishna also agrees. So Krishna, in the last verse of that chapter says, yes, I've given you all these yogic processes, but out of all these karma yogis, ashtang yogis, or dhyan yogis, actually people that are engaged in my devotional service are the best kind of yogis. So bhakti yogis are the best type of yogis, no doubt. Of this, I have no doubt. That's my opinion. So what does he say? He says, I'll open it. I don't think you're able to see my screen somehow, but I'm sharing it on the screen. We'll figure it out tomorrow.
We
So
can
he
see
said,
Mataji.
I can see.
you can't see the verse. I have Sanskrit verse up from
I
Vedavi.
can see the verse, but
Oh,
it's kind
really?
of off.
No, we can't see the Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Not the Sanskrit.
Yeah, I don't think you can, because I'm on the other device and I can't see it. I'll figure it out tomorrow. But let's recite with me. Yoginamapi sarvesham. Yoginamapi
Yoginamapi
sarvesham.
sarvesham
Madgatinantar atmana. Madgatinantar
madgatirantaratmana
atmana. Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam.
Shraddhavan
Shraddhavan
bhajte
bhajate
yo
yo
mam
mam. Same yuktatmo mata. Same
Same
yuktatmo mata.
yuktatmato mata.
So he says, Yogi Namapi Sarvesham, out of all type of yogis, Sarvesham, out of all type of yogis, Madgate Nantaratmana, whoever is focused on me with faith, Shraddhavan, Bhajte Yomam, who is engaged in my devotional service, that, in my opinion, is the best type of yogi. So Krishna also debunked this Dhyan Yoga process. And he said, out of all the yogis, actually, yes, I've given you Karma Yoga process and Dhyan Yoga and Ashtang Yoga. But I believe that out of all the yogas, those engaged in devotional service, connecting to me through devotional service, Bhakti Yoga are the best kind. So I will share about Bhakti Yoga tomorrow. But here is the thing about Krishna consciousness. Please listen carefully. I said that this whole process of Krishna consciousness is given in Bhagavad Gita. And you will see how Prabhupada has taken the whole process, A, B, C, D, E, everything, the whole process of Krishna consciousness from Bhagavad Gita. So when we say Bhakti Yoga, it does not mean that it's aloof from Karma Yoga or Dhyan Yoga. We do need to perform Karma Yoga, meaning action in Krishna consciousness, and we do need to perform Dhyan Yoga, meaning mind control, because Bhakti Yoga encompasses all other yogas. So Bhakti Yoga is not like a separate entity in itself. In fact, it is all inclusive of all other yogic processes also. So all other yogic processes that are done individually by people to attain perfection are very hard to achieve perfection from. Like if you're just doing individually Karma Yoga, it will be very hard to achieve perfection only through Karma Yoga. If you're just doing Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyan Yoga, it is very hard process. It is very easy to get distracted from that process and it's very difficult to follow that process. So by itself, Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyan Yoga will not take you to perfection for ordinary people like us. So Bhakti Yoga is such a topmost process, and Krishna keeps saying it, and I will show you tomorrow through Bhagavad Gita. Krishna keeps saying over and over again that Bhakti Yoga process is the topmost. It is an all-inclusive process in which you do work in Krishna consciousness. So Karma Yoga is included. You do meditate on the Supreme Lord. So mind control is needed. Okay. And remember, mind control is needed, like I said, even for ordinary people. What to say of yogis? You do need some discipline that is practiced by Ashtang yogis also. You should be sitting down in meditation, like we do mantra meditation, with back straight, with following some regulative principles, yam, niyam. Remember, yam and niyam are part of Ashtang yoga, and yam and niyam are part of our regulative principles also. There are certain do's and don'ts, right? There are certain things we do, certain things we don't. Maybe we don't do it to that extreme because we are doing many other things also. So we don't have to take things to very much extreme. And in Bhakti Yoga, the best thing is that there is exchanges and reciprocation with Krishna. There is direct loving relationship with Krishna. So there is direct mercy from Krishna also. Because of the mercy factor, because of the reciprocation factor, Bhakti Yoga is not only the topmost process, it is the easiest process. So it is easiest and it is topmost. And it includes all other yogic processes also. That's why nobody can say, okay, if I'm doing Bhakti Yoga, I don't need to read the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita because they deal with Karma Yoga, or I do not need to read chapter 6 because that deals with mind control since I'm practicing Bhakti Yoga. No, Bhakti Yoga encompasses those things, so we need those things also. So whenever we're doing any seva as a devotee, or even in our regular life outside of our spiritual activities, in our profession, in our community, in our society, in whichever way we are working, remember that we can make our topmost contribution only if we are working with service mentality. If we are employing those principles of Karma Yoga. We are working as a servant. If we are working joyfully, with focus, with deliberation, wholeheartedly, we are aligning our desires with the Supreme. Okay, we are not doing, aligning your desires with Supreme means you're working according to Guru Sadhu Shastra. You're not doing any type of work that is against spiritual injunctions or against the injunctions of Supreme Lord. So you're aligning your desires with Supreme. You are not so outcome oriented, and you're just giving your best to the task. Working with detachment, with responsibility, but with detachment. So with that way you work, then that's Karma Yoga, which is very inherent principle of Bhakti Yoga also. All your services should be done that way. And as for Dhyan Yoga, mind control is needed when not only when we sit for meditation, we need mind control, but actually it is said we should be preaching to our mind the whole time. It is often said that when you preach to other people, maybe for 1 hour, but you should be preaching the rest of the 23 hours to your mind. You have to keep preaching to your mind. Mind is very chanchal. Mind is very difficult to control like wind. So you have to keep preaching to your mind the whole time. You have to identify mind as a separate identity from yourself. Remember that mind has this plot of distracting you and making you a slave of the senses. Mind has a tendency to blind your intelligence. Okay, so remember, senses should control, intelligence should control mind, and mind should control senses. But what happens is mind gets controlled by the senses and mind controls the intelligence. So ulti ganga bahti hai. It's not in the correct order in which it should go. So mind can cloud your intelligence and mind gets clouded by senses. So mind is a very important thing that needs to be controlled on a daily basis, 24 hours a day. And mantra meditation is the best way to, identify your mind as a separate thing. Some people even practice journaling, where they write, they give a name to their mind, that my mind is today telling me that such and such person is like this and like that. He has done this and that. Or my mind is telling me that I should be unhappy because this and this happened today. My mind is telling me that I should go and do this, enjoy this thing today or tomorrow. So identify that this all is coming from mind. All these problems, all these desires, all these things that do not align with your values actually typically come from mind. When mind is criticizing someone, fault finding, when mind is not grateful, when mind is not appreciating, when mind is finding problems with the situation, when mind is stuck on something, some negative circumstance in your life, then it's the mind that's doing it. Identify, it's not me, it's mind. So like that, we need both. So that is the process of Karma Yoga and Dhyan Yoga. I'll stop and we will start tomorrow with Bhakti Yoga. It is very beautiful. I mean, if you can develop attachment to Bhagavad Gita, I think it's a very, it's the best thing one can do for oneself. If when one can just enjoy reading Bhagavad Gita, start, going deep and deep into it. And this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is not linear. It's not like you start from nothing and plateaus. It goes it goes like a spiral. You start from outside and you keep going inside and inside. Every time you read, you will keep coming, going deeper and deeper into the depths of Bhagavad Gita. So I really think we should all read this back to front, front to back, pick any chapter, pick any verse, and just dive deep into it. That's all I have to share. We'll continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Please share and share your realizations. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, before I forget, I like how you covered about the mind being ungrateful, mind being in a criticizing mentality, and how to try to control that mind through the journaling. I love that point.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
You can give a name to it.
Yes.
And you can say like वो कौन थी? Mantra. Whatever, I'm just making it up.
Mantra KKI.
Mantra is today telling me that so and so person misbehaved with me. I should be angry with them. Mantra is today telling me that this that I should be upset because I got a ticket because I was speeding. Mantra is telling me that I should not speak to this person. Whatever. I'm just so like that you can.
It's kind of like you're saying, like, identify your problem by
Yes.
journaling. And then once you identify the problem, you know what's the problem in you. And then you can slowly, step by step work on it.
It's very empowering, actually. You're giving more power to yourself and you're minimizing the things that mind is telling you.
Right. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, that's just something. And similarly, you can offer gratitude also. In journaling, you can offer gratitude. You can identify the mind's things and you can offer gratitude also. But gratitude, you should say I am, not say mind. I am grateful. Yeah, that's me, because my core values of, remember, the soul is Satchidanand. So soul has all good qualities, good values, right? Soul is covered, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, fire is covered by smoke. So soul is covered by this subtle body. And so so when you have all those good things, gratitude, gratefulness, forgiveness, those things are coming from the soul. So say that I feel grateful today for anything, for this opportunity, for my boss who encouraged me today, or for opportunity to be able to work, to be able to drive today. While driving, nothing bad happened. Anything, small things, even very small things. Today my husband cooked dinner for me. Today my daughter hugged me. Anything, just
Right.
And then blessings. People also like blessings and prayers for other people. I pray for this person. So you can write your mind's things. You can write gratitude. You can write blessings and prayers for other people.
Right. And even the forgiveness also, like Hoponopo, like this is forgiveness. So in order to forgive others, we have to forgive ourselves too. Just like to give love to others, we have to love ourselves, and only we can spread the love.
Yeah. So yeah, many sutras, many principles are there. I'll stop. I'm just going to stop the recording here. Thank you everyone for joining. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gita Jayanti Mahotsav ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.